Let me tell you something that is going to make your blood boil. The Usos, two men who were written off, laughed at, and handed their walking papers by the Bloodline, just walked back into Monday Night Raw, grabbed Logan Paul's own weapon, and destroyed everything that pretty boy YouTuber has been trying to build. And not only did they do it, they did it with a smile on their faces. And Logan Paul? Logan Paul stood there looking like the fraud he has always been. But here's what makes this worse. Here is what nobody is talking about. Nobody. Not the dirt sheets. Not the marks. Not the casual fans scrolling through their feed. The people in that arena who cheered when the Usos came back? They have no idea what they just witnessed. They saw a comeback story. What they actually saw was the beginning of something so dangerous, so personal, so deeply calculated that when it all plays out, your jaw is going to hit the floor. Stay right here, because I am going to break down every single second of what happened on Raw, and I am going to tell you exactly what it means for the future of this entire roster. Segment 1, setting the stage. Where were the Usos? Before we get into what happened Monday night, we need to talk about where Jimmy and Uso have been, because if you forgot, let me remind you just how far these two fell. These are the greatest tag team of the modern era. I will die on that hill. The Usos held the SmackDown Tag Team Championships for over 600 days combined across their historic reign. They were the backbone of the Bloodline, the muscle, the enforcers, the brothers who did everything Roman Reigns asked, who sacrificed their own identities, their own careers, their own spotlight, all for the sake of the Tribal Chief's vision. And what did Roman do? He turned on them. He embarrassed them. He used them up like tools and then threw them in the trash the second they showed any sign of independence. Uso went off on his own. Jimmy drifted. And for months the Usos were treated like afterthoughts. Like footnotes in the Bloodline story. Like yesterday's news. Meanwhile, Logan Paul waltzed into WWE with his social media followers and his custom Maybach and his Manny Pacquiao training footage, and the company handed him premium real estate on Raw. They gave him a platform. They gave him credibility. They let him carry the United States Championship and talk down to every legitimate superstar in that locker room. Logan Paul had the nerve to stand in a WWE ring and call himself the Standard. Logan Paul, a man who had been in professional wrestling for less time than most guys spend in developmental, was being treated like a made man. And the Usos watched every single second of it. You think that didn't light a fire? You think two men who gave everything to this company, who bled, who sacrificed, who main event WrestleMania, were going to just sit back and let Logan Paul run his mouth unchecked? Oh no. Oh, absolutely not. Segment 2, the return. What actually happened on Raw? Monday Night Raw. The arena is buzzing. Logan Paul is in his element, microphone in hand, entourage ringside, that smug grin plastered across his face like he owns the building. And honestly, for a while, it felt like he did. Logan was out there cutting a promo about his vision, about how he is elevating WWE, about how he is the future and everyone else is living in his shadow. And the crowd, whether they love him or hate him, was reacting, because Logan Paul knows how to work a crowd. That is the one thing you cannot take away from him. The man understands entertainment. But then the music hit, and the building lost its mind. The Usos came through that curtain with a completely different energy than we have seen from them in months. This wasn't the cocky, Roman-approved Bloodline strut. This wasn't the elusive, fun-loving version either. This was something else entirely. This was two men who had been sitting in the dark sharpening knives, and they finally found someone worth using them on. They got in Logan's face. Words were exchanged. Logan did what Logan does. He talked. He postured. He pulled out that brass knuckles, that signature weapon, trying to remind everyone in that building that he is dangerous, that he is not just a content creator playing wrestler, that he is a legitimate threat. Big mistake, because Jimmy and Uso did not flinch. They did not back down. They did not look at those brass knuckles with fear. They looked at them with hunger. What happened next was fast. It was violent. It was beautiful. The Usos turned the tables on Logan Paul so quickly that his entourage didn't even have time to react. Jimmy got hold of those brass knuckles, Logan Paul's own weapon, and in a moment that is going to live on highlight reels for years, the Usos used it to dismantle everything Logan had built in that segment. The vision? Shattered. Logan Paul's aura of invincibility on Raw? Cracked wide open. And the entire locker room in the back? They saw it happen in real time. Segment 3, why this matters more than you think. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, okay, the Usos are back, they got some revenge, it's a cool moment, let's move on. And if that's you, respectfully, you are missing the entire picture. This is not just a feel-good comeback moment. This is not just babyface gets revenge on heel. This is layered. This is chess, not checkers. And here is why. First, the weapon. Logan Paul's brass knuckles are not just a prop. They are a symbol. They represent Logan's entire WWE identity, the idea that he cheats, he schemes, he finds every possible shortcut, and somehow still comes out on top. The fact that the Usos turned his own weapon against him is not just poetic justice, it is a message. It is the Usos telling Logan Paul, and telling the entire WWE universe, that they know how this game is played, that they have been in the trenches with Roman Reigns, the greatest manipulator in WWE history, and they learned. They know every dirty trick in the book because they helped write the book. Logan Paul is clever, but the Usos are battle-hardened. There is a difference. Second, the timing. The Usos did not come back randomly. They came back at a specific moment, on a specific show, in a specific situation. You do not think that was calculated? You do not think Jimmy and G picked their spot carefully? These are veterans. These are men who understand the WWE landscape better than almost anyone. They chose to make their statement against Logan Paul for a reason, and that reason is that Logan Paul right now is the most visible, most talked about, most controversial figure on Raw. By planting their flag in Logan Paul's yard, the Usos just inserted themselves into the biggest conversation on Monday nights. That is smart. That is very smart. Third, the Bloodline shadow. Everything the Usos do from this point forward is going to be viewed through the lens of their Bloodline history. Roman Reigns is still out there. Solo Sikoa is still running his version of the Bloodline. And at some point, whether it's in 3 weeks or 3 months, these worlds are going to collide again. The Usos versus Logan Paul may be the immediate storyline, but the undercurrent? The undercurrent is the Usos reclaiming their legacy, reclaiming their name, proving that they do not need Roman Reigns, that they never did. And that is the story that is going to keep people watching. Segment 4: Logan Paul's response and what it reveals. Let's talk about Logan for a second, because his reaction to what happened tells you everything you need to know about where this feud is going. Logan Paul is not the kind of person who takes an L and moves on quietly. The man has built his entire brand on the concept of revenge, on clapping back, on making sure that whoever embarrassed him ends up regretting it. We saw it in his boxing career. We saw it in his YouTube feuds. We see it every single time someone underestimates him. So when the Usos took those brass knuckles and used them to blow up his segment, Logan Paul did not go to the back and lick his wounds. No. Logan Paul went to his phone. Logan Paul went to his platform. And Logan Paul started talking, because talking is what Logan does best when he has been backed into a corner. But here is the thing about talking: it only works when people are afraid of what you might do. And the Usos just proved they are not afraid. They walked through that fear. They grabbed it by the throat. And now Logan has to figure out how to respond with actions instead of words. This is where Logan Paul is actually at his most dangerous. A wounded, embarrassed Logan Paul is a focused Logan Paul. And if you think he is going to let the Usos walk around Raw like heroes after what they did to him, you have not been paying attention. The escalation is coming, and it is going to be intense. Segment 5: What this means for the tag team division. Here is a bonus layer that nobody seems to be discussing, and this might be the most important part of the entire conversation. The tag team division on Raw has been crying out for a legitimate top-level feud. For months, we have had teams cycling in and out of the title picture without anything that truly felt must-see. Without a rivalry that made you need to tune in every single week to see what happens next. The Usos coming back and immediately targeting the most high-profile star on the show? That changes the math entirely. Because Logan Paul, whether he is in a tag team context or a singles context, draws eyes. He moves the needle. And the Usos are one of the most credible acts in the history of the tag division. Put those two things together: the most credible tag team of the last decade and the most polarizing individual on Monday nights, and you have the ingredients for something special. You have a program that casual fans will watch because of Logan Paul and hardcore fans will watch because of the Usos. That is crossover appeal. That is the kind of booking that fills arenas and drives streaming numbers. I am not saying it is going to be perfect. WWE has stumbled before. They have taken great ingredients and produced disappointing results. But the potential here is through the roof, and I, for one, am genuinely excited to see where this goes. Closing the call to action. So here is where I land on all of this. What happened on Raw was not just a segment. It was not just a moment. It was a declaration. The Usos declaring that they are back. Not as Roman's soldiers. Not as anybody's sidekicks. As themselves. As two of the most dangerous, most experienced, most motivated men on the entire WWE roster. Logan Paul lit a match when he brought his brass knuckles to Raw every single week, thinking nobody could touch him. The Usos just used that match to set the whole thing on fire. And I want to know, what do you think? Do the Usos have what it takes to dethrone Logan Paul and reclaim their spot at the top? Or is Logan Paul going to find a way to weasel out of this like he always does? Drop your take in the comments right now. I am reading every single one of them. I will be responding. Let's have this debate. And if you are not subscribed to Ring Rumble 1 yet, what are you doing? Smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know, because the conversations we are having on this channel, you will not find them anywhere else. The Usos are back. Logan Paul just got a rude awakening, and Raw will never be the same.